July 28, 1987, Rebecca Spencer, a 27-year-old nurse who lived alone in a small apartment on Inez Court, was found laying lifeless on the floor of her kitchen. The crime scene was gruesome. Rebecca suffered 58 stab wounds, including defensive injuries on her hands. The apartment was ransacked, with signs of forced entry and violent struggle. Detectives began canvassing the neighborhood, seeking witnesses. Residents described hearing nothing unusual, but one neighbor reported seeing a young male lurking around Rebecca's apartment earlier that evening. With no clear leads, the investigation continued. On the 12th of January 1988, about 6 months after Rebecca Spencer was murdered, Joan Heaton, 37, and her daughters, Jennifer, 10, and Melissa, 6, were brutally murdered in their Greenwich Avenue apartment. They had been stabbed multiple times. Investigators scrambled to find leads. A crucial break came when police lifted fingerprints from the crime scene. Detectives compared the prints to those on file. A match emerged. 14-year-old Craig Price, previously arrested for breaking and entering. On January 15, 1988, police brought Craig in for questioning. Initially, he denied involvement. However, during the interrogation, Craig's demeanor shifted. He became increasingly agitated and ultimately requested a lawyer. Despite the setback, investigators remained focused. They re-examined the crime scene and re-interviewed witnesses. A neighbor reported seeing Craig near the Heatons' apartment on the night of the murders. On January 17, 1988, police obtained a search warrant for Craig's home. They seized evidence, including clothing and a knife, linking him to the crime. Confronted with mounting evidence, Craig's alibi crumbled. His fingerprints, witness testimony, and physical evidence connected him to the Heaton murders. On the 18th of January, 1988, Craig Price, only 14 at the time, was formally charged with the triple homicide of Joan, Jennifer, and Melissa Heaton. The community was stunned, grappling with the reality of a teenager accused of such heinous crimes. Following the charges, Craig was indicted by a Rhode Island grand jury. He remained in juvenile detention, awaiting trial. In April 1988, Craig's lawyers argued for a transfer to family court, seeking juvenile sentencing. However, prosecutors pushed for trial in adult court, citing the severity of the crimes. In May 1988, the judge ruled that Craig would be tried as an adult. If you made it this far into this video, kindly hit the subscribe button. During the summer 1988, Craig's trial began in Newport County Superior Court. Prosecutors presented evidence, including fingerprints linking Craig to the crime scene. As the trial progressed, prosecutors offered Craig a plea deal. In exchange for a guilty plea, they would recommend a reduced sentence. September 1988, Craig accepted the plea deal. He pleaded guilty to the Heaton murders and, unexpectedly, confessed to the unsolved July 1987 murder of Rebecca Spencer. Craig's confession revealed a shocking connection between the two crimes. Investigators had suspected a link but lacked concrete evidence. October 1988, Craig Price, barely 15 at the time, was sentenced to 4 consecutive life terms, plus 10 years. Initially, Craig Price's sentence included the possibility of parole after serving 15 to 20 years, indicating potential release by age 21. Rhode Island law at the time allowed juvenile offenders to be eligible for parole after serving a portion of their sentence. However, in 1993, the Rhode Island Parole Board determined that Craig Price would serve his full sentence, ensuring he would not be eligible for release until serving at least 40 years. While incarcerated, Craig Price's troubles continued, accumulating additional charges and disciplinary actions. In 1989, Price assaulted a fellow inmate at the adult correctional institutions in Rhode Island, attracting additional 5 to 10 years for assault with a deadly weapon. In 1991, he was charged with conspiracy and assault for plotting to harm a corrections officer, attracting additional 10 to 20 years for conspiracy and 5 to 10 years for assault, concurrent with the conspiracy sentence. In 1993, Price received disciplinary action for possessing a homemade knife. In 2004, he pleaded guilty to felony assault for attacking another inmate, attracting additional 10 to 20 years. In 2005, Price faced charges for threatening to harm a corrections officer, attracting additional 5 to 10 years concurrent with his existing sentence. In 2015, he pleaded no contest to possessing contraband, a cell phone. Craig Price is currently serving his sentence at the maximum security facility in Johnston, Rhode Island. If you find this video enlightening, kindly give it a thumbs up and subscribe.